what you're looking at is a new sink that was installed, and on this new stone that it's like an under-mounted sink. But anyway, there are a few things that I want you to invite you to. The first one is to kind of look at what we're going to do to install the dishwasher, because the dishwasher has to be installed, obviously, to a drain and all that. So that's going to be a little separate. It's going to be a little more delicate because we need to use electricity, sewer line, and water line. So those things are important. The other thing is that when you install this type of sinks, you need to install in those two holes something called strainers. Now the strainers are these things that are here, this kind of fixtures that are here. And sometimes what happens is that if you put a garbage disposer, you're going to need a different type of strainer. So it's a different situation, a different type of style. Just make sure that you get the one that is for there. Also, we have a hole over there, single hole for a faucet. We need to make sure that that faucet is installed correctly too, with the right hoses and everything. And what you see, all these pieces here are combinations. This one will be the set for the T that is going to connect the two strainers to the drain. Also a trap. A trap is something that will keep the water inside there to avoid smells from coming out of the sewer line. And other, like little elbows and extensions, because if you take a look over here, we have the drain got a little offset, so you want to make sure that you have that connected properly, so you have the water draining towards that, the two drains draining towards the hole. So that's what it is. I'm going to show you, to make it nicer, I'm going to show you the process, the steps that you need to take. The two strainers that you're seeing here are the same. We are not using a garbage disposer. That will be completely different. I may do a video about it, but in this case we are putting something called plumber's putty. Now the plumber's putty that I'm using is stain free. That means that for some particular materials, this thing will not leave you with the stains on the fixtures. So I will put a link. So if you want to get it, I will show you how to get it. Very simple, on the description box. And once you tie this thing, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have some excess of the putty coming out. So you want to use a piece of wood, a small little toothpick or something to clean it up. And as you tie this in, you may end up having a little more excess of material. So once you put it on the bottom, you want to go ahead and just tie these big nuts with a particular wrench. I mean, sometimes you can actually buy a wrench that is designed for this, but if you're just going to do it one time, I recommend you not to get the strainer wrench. Clean up really well everything. In this case, we are using an existing pipe. This is a galvanized pipe. And what happens is that sometimes with the corrosion, you are not able to put a nice seal on it. So once I put this, I'm now measuring everything, because we want to make sure that we don't have a lot of excess amount of the pipe inside. And for that, you can actually use a PEX cutter or pipe cutter. You want to be careful not to kind of crack all your pipe. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, you go ahead and use a hacksaw like the one that I have there. So once it's there, normally you will have to put a little bit of Teflon on it, because it's just, it gives you some trouble. But you want to go ahead and start assembling all your parts. These two elbows over here are symmetrical. That means that they will be into a T and the same distance. But because we're going to use a connection for the dishwasher, we went ahead and like preset everything, and then we're going to start making the proper adjustments, so we will be able to put that stuff. I suggest you that once you kind of measure where it's going to go, just to kind of start assembling your trap and see how deep it's going to go, how you can move the angles, because that will help you a lot. So you see that I'm just going to bring back and forth the trap on the base, and that's because I want to do the stuff. So once I know where it's going to go and how deep it's going to go, I'm not going to tie that at the end against the metal pipe. I just want to go ahead and tie all this really well. Make sure again that when you cut this thing, you cut it carefully. So maybe using a hacksaw will be the best idea if you're not practical. You don't have some sort of practice with the other thing. So this is the part where you just go ahead and cut the little pieces, make sure that you have excess and you have room to play. So you don't want to cut it too short, too precise. You want to have enough so you can actually play it in that stuff. You start tying everything in. Notice that I have that pipe in a particular way, facing up, the one that is going to connect the dishwasher. That's really important. And once you're ready, you know that everything is in place. You want to go ahead and kind of put the Teflon touching that washer that is going to go inside. The washer always going to have the thinner part towards the next piece, and then go ahead and use use your hand to tie this really well. Be careful when you put in this thread, so you don't want to force them too much. Again, remove that little excess with a toothpick or piece of I'm using a wood shim, so that way I don't scratch the surface sometimes. Now that the piping is finished, all the drain line is connected, all the drain lines are connected, including the dishwasher. If you haven't seen this video, I suggest you take a look at the video how to install that dishwasher. So, but all the connections are right. That doesn't mean that they're all fine. I mean, they are tied by hand in some areas. Only in the one over there, I may need to put a little more pressure. But before I put pressure, I want to make sure that everything works fine, just by using your hand strength. Now that we have all that connected, we want to go ahead and test it. How are we going to test it? Very simple. We're going to put some water into the system, into two areas, and with good pressure, we want to go ahead and release the pressure. And by having the help of this light over here, we want to go ahead and take a look underneath and see if everything works well. If not, we need to do the appropriate adjustment, just by tying and maybe putting a little Teflon or something like that. So let's continue. Have with you some paper towels or some rags, because you may end up having, because you have so many nuts and so many connections, you may end up having, like in this case, some leaks. And the reason is that if it's leaking like that, it may be that something has to be obviously tied and stuff like that. But you don't get too frustrated, because if you put too much pressure with a wrench, you may end up damaging the threads, because now we have a metallic part and a plastic part, and sometimes they just give up. So go ahead and test it again. I noticed that after tying it up with my hand, fastening a little bit more with my hands, it started kind of dripping just a little bit. So I went ahead and just kind of loosed the nut itself, and I put some Teflon in between the washer and the elbow. So by wrapping it around, you will have some sort of a cushion, a seal. That may be because there is some sort of deformation into the the strainer itself. So go ahead and test it again, and just be patient with the system. It may be that just one try you can actually remove that stuff, but don't fall into the temptation of just kind of putting too much pressure and with your wrench, because you may end up damaging the piece. You need to buy it again. So you can now see that everything is nice and clean and there's no drips over there. Then you can continue with your process. Now you can see the way it looks like. It's a cool configuration. You saw that we have to kind of shift the T on the side, so we can put the other T right here, or the Y, that will bring the water from the dishwasher into the system. That line over there, you saw that was kind of leaking a little bit. So what I did is that I put Teflon in between the washer and the metallic part. So you have to be a little curious about that part, but overall it looks good. Now it's not leaking anymore, and everything is nice and dry. You right away notice if you have little spots there, especially if you have light, so they will just kind of reflect a lot. Again, it took me, this is not like, oh, I just did it and everything was well. No, it took me to fasten that one a little bit more. Any excess of the putty that you put there, you just want to go ahead and remove it. As some hot temperature may just remove a little bit more, but that should be fine. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video will bring you some value to the knowledge that you're acquiring. I suggest you to take a look at more videos if you have like a disposer or something like that. But overall, I'm kind of pleased with the work that I did over here. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like it. If you have comments, please go ahead and do them. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you want to see a lot more content and you want to follow my channel, please subscribe here and why not to see this or that video. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.